Good morning, everybody. Come in, come in, come in. Let's see, we're a little late this morning, trying to get it together. See who we have in here. Good morning, Adam, my tried and true. Good
Peace and
morning.
blessing, Martine. Glad to be here.
Good morning, Teresa. Happy to see you, love. Good morning, Hattie, Rashida, Z, Doreen. Come in, come in, come in, come in. And please invite anybody. We're wrapping up this session.
Peace and blessing, the Bull Nation. Love y'all too.
Invite anybody that you guys think could benefit from this last session. Good morning, Gina.
Peace and blessings, Martine. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Look at you. You look like you're ready to go. Where you going?
I'm at work on the grind.
Ah, okay. At work already. I love to see it. Working man. Good morning, Facebook. Facebook, please, please invite to Zoom or Facebook and uh, be a part of this conversation. Want to wrap this up this week and get some people in this workshop.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
Good morning, good morning, everybody. We kind of light today. Let me see. How many of y'all up in here? Everybody knows me in here, I think. My name is Martine Lissa Malivers, aka the Change Maker. Added an I in the word change maker to remind myself that change starts with me. And my goal is to cause a chain reaction with the things that I identify and talk about. I am a mother, single mother, to a 21-year-old girl, a young woman. She's about to be 21 in a couple weeks. Can't believe it. Made it this far. I'm a registered nurse. I currently work in the number one heart center in the nation, out here in Houston, Texas. And I'm a child advocate. I teach child sexual abuse prevention. And the title of my session is Have You Talked to Your Child About Being Touched Today? And this is part 3. Um, Last session, I had Teresa with me, and she so graciously shared not really the details of her personal journey surviving child sexual abuse, but more so the impact that it had on her. And She was trying to help me to implore you guys to implement preventative measures into your everyday lives. Um, and as you can see, I think people are sick of this topic, maybe. We only have a few of y'all in here. This has been my struggle for years. I founded Touch the Rebellion Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that aims to teach the community the prevalence of child sexual abuse, make them aware of it, and take preventative measures against it. And it has been a struggle, a struggle. The statistics are staggering. 1 in every 10 children will be sexually abused by the time they turn 18. 90% by somebody that they know. Happens in schools, churches, youth serving agencies, in the home. It's so common. Many of us here have been sexually abused, or we know somebody who's been sexually abused, but I don't know, the action against it, regardless of these things, is just not where I want it to be. So since facilitating for WU, this is a topic that I've spoken on many times, and I'm kind of disappointed at the response. I think the response has been good as far as getting people to open up and share their feelings on it, but I'm talking about as far as action to actually prevent it, because that is my passion. That's what makes the most sense to me. We can cut down these statistics, improve the quality of life of children, and reduce the number one crime against children with simple preventative measures. But getting people to practice these things has just been really, really hard. But I believe that who is here is supposed to be here. So again, if you've heard and received everything that I said, and you think of somebody that you know who has children, or children in their lives that would benefit from this information, please, 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 please invite them in. Okay. So let me remind you of my purpose. My purpose is to identify toxic norms, is to gain consensus, okay, from the community in identifying toxic norms, and to replace them with new healthy norms through creative and engaging programming for the betterment of society. And child sexual abuse is just one of the many toxic norms that I've identified. And I don't even know how y'all receive that. Child sexual abuse, a child being sexually abused, is a norm. It's a norm in America, and it's a norm in the world. It's a norm in every race, class, community. It's a normal occurrence. It's happening right now to somebody. But there's things that we can do to prevent it. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about teaching and doing is empowering children to protect themselves. A lot of agencies who teach child sexual abuse prevention, they more so focus on adults. They call it putting the burden on the adult because they feel like the burden shouldn't be on the child. And I just don't agree with that at all. At some point, we are not going to be with our children. We have to trust our children to implement safety measures that we teach them, such as crossing the street. And with this, it's the same thing. Child sexual abuse attempts rarely happen in our presence. Sometimes they actually do, but the manipulation and grooming at least, but they rarely happen in our presence. So we need to empower and teach kids how to recognize the signs and, teach them how to deal with it. Many victims of child sexual abuse say that victims and survivors, they say that that one thing probably would have changed a lot if they knew that it could happen, if they knew the possibilities of the people who could do it. Again, 90% of child sexual abuse is at the hands of somebody that a child knows. A lot of people, they talk to their kids about child sexual abuse and they say, don't let anybody touch you or whatever. And immediately the child, of course, is naturally going to associate that with a stranger or somebody who doesn't care about them. But it usually happens at the hands of somebody that they know, love, trust, and even admire. So a lot of victims say if somebody had just told me about that possibility, I would have been better prepared. So that is what I teach children in my workshops. And I implore you guys to listen, invite anybody. I know there's a lot of people here who don't have children anymore. I teach children from being verbal all the way up to 18, 19, depending. I like to get kids ready to go away for college, especially. A lot of times that older group, they get lost. If anything happens to them sexually, they get labeled as fast, and um, the accountability is put on them instead of recognizing that they're growing children, right? With hormones and coming into their own sexuality. And it's going to be natural for them to do things like admire maybe an older person, but that accountability is put on them rather than the person who is violating, who is the older person who should know better. So again, these are the things that I teach. You can bring up that trigger warning slide. Some of you may be triggered already. I know last time we got so deep. I was not able to read the chat. I don't even know if I have the chat. So I just remember seeing things, in my peripheral, but I know that it got really, really deep. So again, let's look out and be there for each other, support each other. And if ever the topic is too much for you, log off because it's a lot. It can be very, very taxing. But I really appreciate how open you guys were last time. And on that note, I just want to know if there's any residual from last time. Does anybody want to talk to me about what I missed, not being able to read the chat? Is there anything that we need to cover before moving forward? Because I want this session to be more about practical things that we can do. So I want to remove a lot of the conversation. I don't want to, of course, uh, shut down your voices, but I really want us to. I have a website that I want to go through, and I want to go through some practical preventative measures today. So let's get all the residuals out of the way. Anybody have anything to say about last session or what was going on in the chat? Is there anything in the chat now?
No, not at the moment. I also
Okay.
want to thank you for creating this container, this space for whatever was shared. I know in this community, we're very giving when it comes to sharing stories and experiences where this feels like a safe space to do so. So thank you for allowing uh, this space to be where people can share where they may have never shared before, or the children in them, the little girls, the little boys in them were able to get those stories out in a space where it felt safe. And if anyone wants to reshare, this is still that space to do so. So I just wanted to remind everyone, thank you for this. It's not an easy conversation to have. And to hear that people shared in the chat is amazing because it's not always something people talk about, nor in a virtual space as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you, the Woo community, for helping me to grow in this. Like I said, I've done many sessions, with in different aspects. We always talk about something different. Um, this space has really, really allowed me to grow and hone, all the things I'm working out. I'm hoping to someday be have programs in schools, and just for this conversation to be normalized. I don't want it to be awkward. I don't want it to be scary. I don't want parents to feel like, oh my God, this is so inappropriate. I don't want people talking to my kids about this. A lot of people think, oh, these conversations need to be had at home, but you send your kids out, it's happening at their schools. One of the things that I want to do today is Google where everybody is from, and to see what's happening. You might be really, really surprised what's going on in your own city. I see a hand. I don't know if there's
Yes.
more than one I can.
Yep, it's just Hattie.
Good morning, Hattie.
Good morning, sis.
How are you?
I am so fantastic, and I'm just so honored to be in this space. Um, when I saw that this discussion was taking place, it really struck me. And I want to hear more about how to give our babies the tools to defend themselves. And the first thing that came up for me was, let's start putting them in some Tai Chi karate classes, like right the heck now. Because I'm thinking, because at first I was I was feeling like sad. First of all, like, did our babies go through this, right? And then I'm thinking about my 3-year-old granddaughter. And I'm like, well, how do you talk to a 3-year-old about touching where you don't make them fearful, where you don't make them be like, oh my gosh, the world is people out trying to get me? Because that's what's happening. And when you said, how do we teach them to protect themselves? That's when I realized that's the key. Because just like we teach them, there's cars out here, we got to watch how we cross the street. That's how you do it. There are people out here that sometimes want to touch you in a way that makes you feel kind of yicky, right? Yeah, girl. Well, this is what you do. So anyway, I'm excited to get into that discussion because I think you hit the nail on the head. And I know for me, I just feel so blessed because I remember at 2 years old, I didn't understand it. But you know how you have family gatherings, right? Because every Sunday we all got together, and the uncles was always, girl, come over here and sit on Uncle so and so's lap. Honey, I remember as I was going to do that because you obedient. Honey, my mama grabbed me by my neck and grabbed me, like pulled me up in the air and threw me out the room. And I was like, what I do wrong? But I realized as I grew up that my mother was protecting me because she knew. And when her and my dad would get into fights and she would leave home, my uncle always came and got me. And wherever she was, that's where I was. My brothers and them stayed at home, and I was like, well, why I gotta be here by myself? But I realized as I got older, she was protecting me. And I'm so blessed for that. And I think it's like you said, this is a norm, which shows you why this society has to be overthrown. This matriarchal beast has to be gotten rid of because from the top to the bottom, everything it does is against us. We got to have a place where women are empowered.
Yeah,
These
but
things will not happen then.
said Hattie, and I'll say where women are empowered, absolutely. But this thing happens to men too, and it's crazy because I was looking up the latest statistics because it's been a while since I've seen the statistics flying around. And it used to be 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys, and now it's one in maybe 1 in 6 girls and 1 in 13 boys, right? And I'm like, could be because there has been within the last decade a lot of awareness um, around boys getting sexually abused because
Yeah,
we think we always think about it's just girls, but a lot of men have been sexually
that's
abused.
true.
And there's so
That
that
is so
conversation
true.
is so deep. There's so many reasons for it, and they get sexually. I mean, girls too, but it's women and men sexually abusing the boys. There's a lot of boys who, because of how society is, because of the patriarchy, they don't even realize they were sexually abused until they sit in on one of these sessions and they're like, I was violated. I may have felt away because that's how society told me to feel, right? But I was underage and I wasn't really given a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Or, they always say the only way you can give consent is when you have the option to say no, right?
Yeah,
So even if you're saying yes, if you don't have the option to say no, that yes is not truly consent. So a lot of them they come to these realizations. That's one. Two, the thing about sitting on laps. There's so many things that parents do where they think they're protecting children, and you may have been protected all the way at the end of the day because maybe there was some other things. But I'm gonna tell you, as a person who's been sexually abused, numerous occasions by numerous people. From what I remember, any lap that I've sat on, it has never been inappropriate. And when I think about it now as an adult, I think about how consciously the man who had me on his lap kept my body away from his genitals. I don't know if y'all, if you can think about a grandfather or something who's holding a child on their lap, they're constantly kind of like moving them to the side. So there's things that we do that are not evidence based, that we just, just off of common sense or maybe an experience, because I have spoken to people where that is how it started off, by sitting on a lap. So I'm not taking away from that being a possibility, but I'm saying telling your child not to sit on people's lap, that's not enough. It's not enough. So there are a lot of preventative measures that need to be talked about, that the average parent is not even aware of. So those are some of the things that I want to talk about. So thank you so much, Hattie, for your share. Just making me feel a little bit more purposeful. And I would love your feedback by the end of the session to let me know,
Ashe, I'm looking forward to it, sis.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else before we move on?
I just want to share something. Ms. Martine, great AM, how you doing? I just want to share that in response to the Queen's question, when she was saying, how do you even teach a 3-year-old? I wanted to answer that because for me, teaching all my kids was potty trained that one day. I was at Sippy Cups at 9 months. And I talked to all my kids since they was able to talk, because I knew I was touched on. So I talked to my kids since they was able to talk. I would touch my daughter's private part and like, no, nobody can touch you down there. You know what I mean? When I'm giving her baths, I would always remind her, like who can give her a bath and who can't. So it's just about like the same way you teach a child not to touch a plug, the same way you teach a child not to touch a hot stove. You know what I mean? You have to mold that and instill that in them from the beginning. Like from the beginning, my kids knew if somebody told you don't say nothing, you say okay, but you come and tell me. I instilled that in my kids since they was able to talk. I let them know if somebody said don't tell me, say yeah to protect yourself. Okay. But as soon as you see me, I don't care if it's in their face, tell me. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's certain things that we have to teach our kids, like we teach them when they ABCs. This should be taught like their ABCs. So I appreciate you coming on here, because this is something that should be taught, just like ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors, sexual abuse, all that should be taught. So, as they're growing up, because if you wait, I feel like the later you wait, the harder it is to instill it in them. So that's all I have to say now.
Right. And thank you for bringing this back up too, because it's surely something that I forgot to address with Hattie's share. Child sexual abuse prevention education is through the lifespan, really. The basis of it is setting and maintaining boundaries. It's about giving respect, demanding respect, and using your voice. Predators, they're a specific type of child that they prey on. They prey on a child who trusts them, who they feel they can manipulate, and who won't say anything. I'm sure we can think about a lot of children that fall under those categories. I know I surely did. People might not believe that about me now, but I was a very quiet child. And then I also was a very sexual child. That's another thing too that I like to cover with parents, is just childhood sexuality. It's a thing. We are humans, right? First, and our nature is our nature, and we're all different. But I say all the time, there are babies, small babies who masturbate, because once you find that spot and it's stimulated and it feels good, you're gonna do what naturally feels good. So there's a lot of things that come into play, but in short, prevention education is through the lifespan, and I like to teach it in age appropriate stages. Okay, so a 3-year-old, their books, with characters that you can read to them, and just like Queen said, when you're bathing them, these things really make a difference. before I got educated on this, just because I was sexually abused, when I had my daughter, before she could even talk, when I was changing her diaper, like if you tried to change my daughter's diaper, she would kind of fight you until she saw that you were just changing her diaper because it was just things, you know, hand motions and things that I would teach her from when she was lying on her back as a baby. By the time she was 3 years old, just because of the things that I casually told her, don't let anybody touch you there. If anybody touches you there, fight them. You know, before I knew better, that's what I would tell her. Make sure you tell mommy. And I'll tell y'all, there was an incident where I left my daughter at somebody's house for it was about for 2 hours. And she was playing, she was 3 and she was playing with a 4-year-old. I came back to pick her up and she had on skirts. I don't know if you guys know, they're like, it's a pair of shorts, but it has like a thing in front of it, makes it look like a skirt. And she had them on backwards. And so I asked her, why are your skirts on backwards? You know, you just have that feeling, that intuition. Something was telling me something was wrong. And then there was a toothbrush on the floor too, which was really bothering me. I'm like, why are your skirts on backwards? Why is this toothbrush is supposed to be clean and, you know, going in somebody, why is this on the floor? Like, what's going on here? And at 3, she was like, wow, tell you something. And she takes me into the corner and separates me from everybody because she understood at 3 that this was shameful, that this was taboo, you know, even though I had talked to her about what to do. And she went on to tell me that she went to the bathroom. And while she was in the bathroom, the 4-year-old girl came in and took her skirts and her pull-ups off. And was she doing pull-ups? I think she was still in pull-ups. And she said that she ran around the house chasing after her and she's no bottoms on. The adult who's supposed to be watching the kids, I'm not saying supposed to be, this happens all the time, right? He's literally in the other room. You hear the kids laughing or whatever. And she said that the little girl tried to take the toothbrush and put it inside her vagina. So I asked her, did she put it inside your vagina? And she said, no. I said, how do you know she was trying to put it in your vagina? And she told me that the girl pinned her down and was trying to insert the toothbrush into her vagina. And I asked her, what did she do? And she said, I hit her and I kicked her and I screamed like you told me to. And I told her to stop. Finally, she just got tired and she stopped. And I put my stuff back on backwards. And that was like my aha moment where I was like, okay, what if I get educated on how to really, you know, this can be prevented. Like that could have happened to my daughter. And the one thing that I want you guys to understand, that 4-year-old didn't do that to my daughter. She didn't just imagine that and just say one day she wanted to do that. She didn't have sexual feelings that said, okay, I want to insert a toothbrush into, you know, Asha's vagina. That's not what happened. Somebody did that to her. So long story short, we found that her older sister did that to her. Her older sister's older cousin did that to her. And the older cousin's mother's boyfriend was abusing her. Okay, you see that chain reaction? And my daughter could have also succumbed to that. But because of what I taught her, again, without all the education that I have now, no evidence-based, nothing, just common sense. Like if somebody had told me, don't let anybody touch you there, there's been a lot of times I wouldn't have been touched. I simply told my daughter that. I told her to fight, right? Which I never, who would ever imagine that your kid will actually have to do this? But she was put in that position because she said the girl was really forceful with her. And we confronted the little girl and she admitted to all of it. So this basically preparing your child, practicing preventative measures, it works, right? But the more education and evidence you have, because again, child sexual abuse is so convoluted. It's not going to be a child running with a toothbrush all the time. There's grooming and manipulation. So there's a lot to be taught. But as far as a child that's 3 years old, right? Because we're trying to imagine the youngest child possible. It's possible to teach them. And there's a lot of resources out there to help you. Okay. So let's move on. Unless anybody wants to comment on that, or if there's anything in the chat.
I just wanted to say that sometimes it's not an older person, it's the children that our children are playing with, and their learned behaviors, and you don't always think that there's an issue, or if you are a child, you might think, oh, I know for me, it was playing house. And me and my friend's brother, it was like, oh, you're the mom, I'm the dad, my sister is the child. And it's like, okay, we're playing house. But not knowing that him touching me inappropriately was something that is not okay. Right. But I also told my mom because I had a close relationship with her, and she's hearing the story like, nah, we're gonna talk to him about this. And so she was able to break down where it was inappropriate. But for me, it's like, oh, you called it playing house, and so everything's fine. So not always knowing that, playing is something inappropriate that is happening. We are not, or the child might not be able to recognize it, but also having that open relationship where you're coming home and you're telling your parents about your day, and they can recognize that something wasn't right, and advocating. And my mother advocated for me when it did happen. So thank you for that, because it's not always an adult that's doing it, it's the children that they're playing with.
Yeah.
Learn behaviors.
And then with learned behaviors, childhood sexuality, it's a lot. It's a lot, y'all. Because what sometimes appears to be sexual abuse is actually sexual exploration, right? It doesn't change whether or not it was appropriate, right? But some of it is just simply sexual exploration, and sometimes it needs to be handled differently. There's a huge difference between somebody trying to insert a toothbrush in a genital and somebody mimicking what they see on TV and maybe kissing or touching. I'm not minimizing that, right?
Yeah, no.
But you do have to take that into consideration too. And that's what the education is about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that happen between children and youth serving agencies. Church is a big place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just causes so much commotion. Some of it can fall under sexual exploration, and now maybe a child is, in a detention center or something like that. And that's a very gray area. But with prevention, if I just feel like if we talk to these children and talk to, create safe spaces where they can be open about what they're feeling and what they want to do, there's a lot of things, that can be prevented. A lot of this is our nature. It's our nature all the way at the end of the day, regardless. Um, Again, some of it being exploration, some of it being violation. But when we don't talk about it, when we're not open, we don't prepare our kids, we're doing them a disservice. And this is something that's as old as time. It is the greatest and longest crime against children. um and it's 2025. I don't understand why schools are not promoting this and churches are not promoting this. And I don't understand why you all allow them to brush this over. I'm going to show you just how prevalent it is. And I, as a parent, one of the things that I tried to fight for was to hold my school accountable, my child's school accountable, especially like the school district. Okay, we've had this many incidences of child sexual abuse happen in school, but y'all have nothing in place, nothing. All preventative measures that they have in place are really reactive measures. Let me teach the staff what to do if they see signs of child sexual abuse. Let me teach the staff what to do if a child discloses child sexual abuse. But what about, let me teach the staff how to empower children to prevent this from happening? And we're not going to be able, it's not 100%. I'm not saying, oh, send your child to my workshop and they surely will not get sexually abused. I'm not saying that at all, but it has been proven to cut down on the instances. So that's what we want to talk about. So last time, I played a video and there was so much going on. I didn't really get to the point of why I played the video. So are we up to that? Yeah, by the way. Oh no, we didn't do the toxic norm slide.
No, we're not. Yeah.
37 minutes in, and I haven't even gone over my branded slides.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. So let's do the toxic norm slide, and then we're gonna get into this video. Okay, so in true change maker fashion, I've identified a toxic norm, and this is the same one as last time because we didn't really graduate from it. So last time I said that when offered a free children's workshop on child sexual abuse prevention during my last session, only 4% of the nation's present participants, or the participants who were present during the session, accepted the offer. And last session, we only had 3 more. And only 2 of those 3 had children. I had somebody, an adult, who said they want to sit in on the session, which I think is beautiful because you should want to see how this works and what you can do to help move the effort forward. So the change I would like to see is members of our beloved Woo Nation joining touch to take action against child sexual abuse in order to break the cycle of abuse that has terrorized and traumatized our community for far too long. So there are days that I feel like I want to give up, but I'm not going to give up on my Woo Nation. I know that there's more than 3 parents who have children that could use this education. Um, One of them was actually a grandparent. So again, there's a lot of you here who don't have children that, fall into this age category, but you sure have children in your lives, nieces, nephews, cousins, grandkids. So please, please, please take advantage of the information. So I want to play a clip of Orange is the New Black. It has subtitles, so I want you guys to pay attention to the subtitles. I want you to really listen to each person's account. Okay, try to do so with some critical thinking. I have a series of questions I'm going to ask you guys after you watch the clip. It's a very short clip, but there's a lot to be retained from it.
All of us in the kitchen making tamales. Almost feels like Christmas at home. Sí, pero el freco de mi tío Fernando no está aquí para meter sus manos dentro de los pantalones. Please, speak English. How about you learn Spanish?
In my family, is cousin Frankie fucking perv. My mother hit him with a brick when he messed with my niece once. That rompió su pómulo. Now half his face is kind of sunk in. Serves him right.
My daughter is with my cousin at some marimacha collective she's part of. Not a dick for miles, y lo quiero así.
You ain't worried they'll turn her gay?
She's a baby. Y solo tengo un año. I got her back before she knows anything.
Immigration, hands where I can see them.
All right. Does anybody need to see that again? Or we got it? Okay, so let's talk about it. Tell me what you guys saw.
So, well, the sisters in the beginning were just relating incidences like, yeah, every time we get together, this is what happened. And they talking about the men, the whatever, but how their mothers responded, which was good. But then the last part where the girl asked the woman, well, aren't you afraid she's going to be gay or something? I kind of missed that. But the impression I got was she felt like, well, it was okay that she was with girls because there's no dicks around. So as long as there was girls around, then she was good. And the question is, well, is it really? So Interesting.
Okay, so you caught that. So you said mother's response was good. What was good? Tell me what you identified as good.
Well, I didn't think her response was, well, so I guess the question becomes, when we're dealing with girls, are only dicks an issue? Or is sexual assault by anybody an issue? And I think that's the
No,
key.
I was asking, I thought that you were saying, so the first two, because I thought that you were commenting on how the
Yes, I did
second
both.
person said that her mom
Hit the
cracked
guy
him
with
on
a
the
brick.
head or something. Mhm.
I like that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought, because the fact that her mother responded that way, she was defending her daughter.
Mhm.
So I like that. I mean, so I was just responding to that.
What did you feel about the first person account? She just was saying, okay, yeah, I remember this and being
This
back home and everything's all good with the exception of uncle's hand in my
put
pants.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, see, that's just it. It's that's like it just brought back a memory of my nieces, when they would say stuff, we are the family getting together, then they would just say this stuff. And you'd be like, you don't know how to deal with that. It's like, wow, like, do we tell somebody? Did you tell somebody? Do you cover it up and just act like it didn't happen and keep it moving? And
Mhm.
that's where that's a default mechanism, but
Mhm.
that allows it to keep happening.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. Um, I see Queen's hand. I don't know if there's anybody else should tell.
Oh, Queen A, you can go.
Great AM, great AM. I just wanted to share, it was like the normal, it was like different scenarios of what we consider to be the normal. It was like they was talking about it. It was kind of scary how we talk about it like it was normal for me. And what was even scarier was they talked about how their mom, they might have hit them or they might have did something, but nobody reported the incident. So that's what stood out for me. It happened in the homes, like it does happen in the homes, but like somebody might hit somebody or may do something, but nobody's reporting anything. So that's what really stood out for me. It's like it was like the normal. Like, yeah, at least my uncle ain't around to touch me. At least this ain't, it was just talking about it like it was, a normal thing. So that's what
Yeah,
I got.
I can always depend on you, Queen A. Absolutely. So, what I identified in this clip, and I brought this up as one of the many clips that I played. It wasn't last session. I think it was a session before last, not the one that I did with you. So, yeah, where I was talking about how child sexual abuse is used in entertainment and it's normalized in entertainment, and we're desensitized by it. We don't even notice all of the instances that child sexual abuse is named in entertainment. Um, and a lot of times it's inappropriately, it's poking fun, it's just raunchy nastiness, dark comedy. But this clip was a little different. And then what I identified is that there's an awareness. Everybody is aware, right? That inappropriate behaviors are happening. The first girl talked about how it's a normal occurrence. She knows she's going to go to the family function and it's going to happen. And that's just how life is. The second one was like, yeah, I feel you, but somebody did something about it. And like Queen A said, that something that they did was bust them over the head. And, we hear about this a lot too. This person got beat up, street justice, right? But it wasn't reported to the authorities. So when that person's wounds heal, they're just going to get up and do it again to another child. Then the third one, and I feel like the last two in comparison to the first were, yeah, it happens, but we're doing something about it. So the third one, Flocka, she's like, well, I'm not going to let my kid get exposed to this at all. I don't have to worry about that because my kid is around women. And I saw something in the chat. I think it was Chantel who put it in there because they use the word. Its context is everything, and this actually will strengthen the conversation. You said what that term that they use, mari macha, is like a. I thought it meant lesbian.
It's like a stud, like masculine woman in in Spanish, but it's like she didn't even say that she was assaulted or that her daughter, she was worried about her. I guess like you said, we think like they're safer around women. So I guess she said it was a collective though. I don't know if she's a part of a group or what.
Yeah.
But she's like, so you don't think it's gonna make her gay? I don't so but the correlation wasn't around sexual abuse, it was just being around lesbians. Do you think that's gonna make her gay? She
That's
didn't act,
the
yeah.
concern.
Right. It
Yeah.
wasn't like she didn't say you don't think she's gonna be touched by them or anything. She's just saying being around them right now would make her gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then regardless, I mean, these are attempts, better than doing nothing, I guess. But they're not effective at all. They're not effective at all. Like, how long are you said you're gonna go and get your daughter when you get out of jail? The rest of the group looked a little skeptical about that. I don't know if they thought she's never gonna get out of jail or what, but but then what? Right? These are like quick fixes, not very effective, delusional a little bit. But this is how society functions.
Oh, right. And then she said there wasn't a dick in sight from miles. So it's like, is that the safety? It's like, oh, there's no dicks around.
Exactly,
But
as if women don't
don't
commit
touch.
these crimes.
Right, exactly. We just talked about that. And some people who weren't here in the beginning, we were talking about how men are also sexually abused and don't talk about it, but a lot of them are abused by older women in their lives too. Right. So women can be the predator as well, but we look at women as nurturers and mother figures, and we don't always think about that as well. So Lawanda has her hand up, and then Keith had a question in the chat that we can go to.
Okay.
Hello, good
Good
morning.
morning.
I am uber late, but I'm here.
Thank you for being
What's what
here.
matters, Wanda?
I'm hearing the conversation. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, so I think I kind of alluded a little bit to that inside of my book where I was talking about how because if a person is touched, they're looking at it like, oh, you were just touched. There wasn't any penetration, there wasn't any like this, so they just try to pass it off and tuck it under the rug. So if they feel like they're with a woman because we can't physically penetrate like with the penis part, they're like, oh well, she's safer, but it's still trauma. It's the same trauma. And then when young boys sleep with older women, in the society, a lot of people big them up. Oh, you're a big man, you this, you the other. And that ends up causing psychological issues to that young boy when he grows up as a man. And a lot of time he compares young girls to these big women who are already so experienced. I think Country Wayne's son showed it the other day. It's like he was asking his 18-year-old to cook for him. And she's looking like, I don't know this house. What do you mean cook for you? Let's call Uber. But he's comparing her to a 30-year-old woman who's already cooked for him and all of this stuff. It's putting this more adult layer on their life and stuff like that. So I just think it's interesting how we have these incidences and we brush it under the cover because of the level of severity that we think happened physically and not necessarily the emotional impact that it causes on people. So definitely speaking out. And then if they love the perpetrator, they're not going to talk about it to people. They're just going to try and cover that up because that's their son or their brother or their uncle. And if it happened to them in a heavier way, what you complaining for? Nobody did nothing for me. So go take your touch and go sit down. It's like that type of thing. So thanks for this topic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you for bringing in um how people gauge and scale sexual abuse. Well, at least it wasn't this. At least it wasn't that, right? But first of all, everybody's an individual. Something might happen to me that happens to you. You go on with your life, never think about it again. I end up in the mental hospital, right? Everybody is a unique individual, and we all process trauma differently. And trauma is a thing, and you can be traumatized by being touched or penetrated, right? It's still a sexual violation to your person. You could be traumatized by somebody showing you pornography. It's still a sexual violation. So thank you so much for bringing that into the conversation, Rwanda. Okay, Chantel, what's the question?
Keith, are you able to come off mute? You put it in the chat, but I was trying to get clarity. It says, do you think it's a psychological disorder? And I was asking if he meant sexual abuse, or if someone is deciding to be lesbian or gay. Some people think that as well. So I was just trying to get clarity on that. But
Are you here, Keith, to shed some light on what
Can
specifically
you hear
you're
me?
asking?
yes.
Okay. So basically, good morning, everybody. Yes, based on the topic, was the part that sort of like, sort of like got to me was just like the chain reaction of how a lot of this abuse comes from someone who also been abused. And so I had a conversation with some other people maybe a year ago, and basically the conversation was, is the predator a victim as well? So how do you go about the quote unquote ramifications or the consequences? Is physical harm and ostracizing these people and putting them on the registry and everything, is that the way to do it? But when you hear the stories that these people was taken advantage of or violated, then it's like, then how do you now change the psychology of these people who was violated, and now in their minds, they're just, doing what they was told or what they was taught or how they was treated. So I was thinking that, because it seems like it's becoming a psychological thing where now once the violation takes place, it now put that individual in a different mind state of whether it's perversion or just or just now the hurt is hurting others, is like, what should the consequences be, and I thought that maybe if it's considered to be psychological, then is there any type of facility or is there any place that they can go to where it's like, listen, you did what you did and is wrong, but you need some form of therapy that can actually work and help to, I guess, because that, like I said, it's just a deep rabbit hole. Because you have some people that just predators, right? And then you have some people that been violated, and now they just repeating the
Okay,
cycle.
let me
So I don't
stop
want
you
to be
there.
long
Let me
winded,
stop you
but
there because
that's what I was basically talking about.
this is a whole other conversation, and you're right. It, it is so convoluted, but there's a lot of information out there. There are a lot of organizations who are trying to change how predators are dealt with because of the very things that you're talking about. It's just a very convoluted, complicated situation. Um, Man, if you just think about our nature, right? Like one of the things that I wanted to do in this session that I just decided not to because it just tends to be too much is to bring up all the songs. Last time we talked about movies and TV shows, right? All the songs that reference older men engaging, admiring with younger women. And if you think about it, back in the day, the age that a woman would get married and have babies, it was a lot earlier than it is now. So there could be some of that into it. It's a very, 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 very complicated conversation. Not anything that I could answer. Actually, this realm is where I started. I started out with victims and studying predators, but I was like, it's too big of a mountain. There's not enough resources out there, and that's how I got into prevention. Because regardless, if we talk about predators who do it because it was done to them, if we prevent it from happening to them, we just cut down on a whole bunch of predators. That's how I started to look at it. But to answer your question, there is a lot of research and a lot of work being done out there, but it's just not enough. Um, Stop It Now. If you could look this up, Chantel, and then drop it in, I think it's stopitnow.org. Is a very overwhelming site. I use a lot of their resources. They have so much information. They're doing so much work out there. That's a site that you can go to and learn about specific things. They actually go into the prisons and work with predators because their goal at the end of the day, you're going to get out of jail, right? You're going to become a registered sex offender. There's a large percentage of people who come out and fall off the grid because they don't want to be a sex offender. So they're out there, nobody knows where they are, right? And these people go into the jails and actually try to rehabilitate them, and they have a pretty good success rate. Um, but again, that's a whole other conversation. It's really, really deep. But if you want to go to that website, you can see all the work. That's like my sister company. I love them so much. And they do a lot of work in there. But to answer your question, yes. Some of it is psychological. Some of it, it's like antisocial diagnoses, psychosis, and a lot of it is just monkey see, monkey do. A lot of it. I know a lot of children who have sexually abused, penetrated, boys penetrating boys, other children, because of something that happened to them. A lot of the gay community will tell you, I was sexually abused, and I don't even know if I would be gay if it didn't happen to me. It's convoluted. And again, for me, the immediate answer, not answer, but the easiest thing to do is practice prevention because you cut down on so much when you practice prevention. Child sexual abuse is all about risk. And we're going to talk about risk in a minute, how it directly affects you, right? It's all about risk and mitigating those risks. I know I didn't answer you totally. I don't have all the answers for you, Keith, but I hope that could hold you over for a little bit. But definitely check out that website if that's something that you're interested in.
And I
Thank you
want
for
to,
the question.
yeah, I want to shout out Keith. Keith is my god baby father. I always call him. I don't have, yeah, I don't have kids, but he is the father of my godchild, and I told him to jump on here. And as a father of a girl, I'm glad that he, hit the link. It takes a lot, and so it's 7 in the morning. He was like, let me be a part of this conversation, and he added to it and asked questions. So I just want to shout him out for being on the line and listening to me. Like you said, it takes inviting people. You don't have to have kids to bring people into the conversation who do have kids. So I hope that it was helpful.
Well, I'm touched. Thank you. Pun intended.
Right. I was like, okay, I see what you did
there. Thank you for inviting Keith. Keith, thank you for answering the call. And I just want to say to all the men who are listening on this call, you do not know how important your influence is in this conversation. When you sit and you talk to women who survived child sexual abuse and how they talk about their fathers and the impact that their fathers made or didn't make in their lives and how important it is to hear that voice. Of course, the boys too, but especially the girls. You guys matter, and you have to be a part of this conversation. It has to be both parents, especially when the parents are apart. It has to be both parents practicing and at least being on one accord with this one thing. So thank you so much for being here. Invite your boys. Make sure your kids take the workshop, God Baby Daddy. Anybody else before we move on? Not yet, Chantel.
I was trying to unmute because you said, "All right, God Baby Daddy." But yeah, bringing other men into the conversation. It starts with one person. It's a ripple effect. Oh, we have purple.
Take that slide down.
Oh, sorry.
Not there yet.
That purple.
Good morning. I'm sorry I was late as well. I went from early to late. This is so good, and I have comments. I have questions, so I'm gonna narrow one of them down.
Oh God, we're at the
time.
We're at the 8 o'clock hour. Before you go,
Mm-hmm.
let me just bid anybody farewell. I cannot believe it is already 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, Central Time. If you have to go, please get the information that's going to be dropped in the chat. Join the Facebook group so you can run the playback. This is a very important conversation. I have some things that I want to show you. Very important things I'm going to show you. So please. watch the playback. And thank you so much for being here and rocking with me thus far. Have a good day and rest of your week. Okay, Purple, go.
Yeah, cool, flat. I'm present to myself normalizing, but knowing it wasn't, I realized that what I wasn't okay with it and came up with a formula, but I didn't realize how much I normalized being touched at parties. It was a part of the culture. I didn't like it, right? I didn't want to. I was built the way I was built. I was a child that was able to go outside, parties a little younger. And it was such a part of the culture when you walking by guys grabbing on you. And I figured out like a formula, my grip them back, how I can hold on to their wrist, turn around and communicate for them. Like I had to keep coming up with techniques from walking in the street. And if you don't stop, you get, I got bottles thrown at me. And I'm 11 years old. I'm talking about middle school. So when you said, and I put one of the lyrics in the chat, and I am someone that loves and distinguish hip hop culture. And I know that was a big part. The music was a big part of my normalization. I would like to say, especially while everything is going on right now, hip hop is not the only form of music that normalizes it. I'm definitely paying attention to rock and country lyrics. But I will say for me, in my experience, some of my favorite songs, if I looked at my words as spells, I had no idea what I was calling in. And until this morning, which I do not blame myself, I'm just seeing the relationship of cause and effect, right? And how much I even normalized it because I was resigned and felt defeated as a small child. And I want to kind of back up a little bit more for something I found that I was used to that kind of groomed me for that without families knowing. Mm-hmm. Because I had the shape I had as a child, the love, they were totally not aware. But the aunties, oh my God, look at her shape, turn around, look at her butt, touching your butt, patting on it. Look at her, you getting thick. Oh my God, I wish I had a shape like constantly putting my physical body on display as a young girl. So you're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, without knowing. My question is, was that a community, collective, unconscious grooming? And I ain't mad at them.
I wouldn't say so. And a lot of people do not agree with things that I say, right?
I need to give you a little bit, another piece to this community. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a stripper when I was younger. And I was sharing that with my uncle, who's a very accomplished educator. And he was like, what? You? Why? It was so far from my tomboy-esque personality. So that's why I'm also like, I can't answer to people where I wanted to be. I just knew I wanted to be. And I was like, okay, I'll be a video dancer. Right? We were not called video vixens, right? And I didn't become a video dancer. But when I got to college and I got offered opportunities to strip again, I really struggled. Because for me, it felt like I finally get to just do this thing I always wanted to do. I looked at the lifestyle it came with, and I looked at my intention of being at college and my mother, right? That's not what she wanted to. But that's why I'm also saying that is this display of my body and looking, and whether I'm like it or not, no ask of it. Once my body, I got used to it being so displayed and so community property handled. I'm wondering about my own association about that desire, which I did find a way to fulfill it. I did an amateur night. Because it was there for me to fulfill. I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? I'm in my 30s and I still want to have this desire, but not really. It's like the military. I want to go to the military, but I was like, nope, I don't align with the ideology. So I did an amateur night, fulfilled on that. I did Brown Girls Burlesque, and that was very affirming. Both experiences satisfied me. Because I don't knock sex work and workers in that industry, but likely because my desire, right? So I'm just wondering, it wasn't a need. I didn't have to strip. That wasn't it.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a complicated conversation, but how you simplify it is boundaries, appropriate and inappropriate. There's so much, one of the things that I hate, I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, about having woo conversations is people will bring um their ideology, their values, their beliefs, and then start judging people, and it just gets to be too complicated. You have people who are very sexually expressive. If you're a grown woman and you have made the healthy decision to strip or even to be a sex worker, right? It becomes something else when there's coercion, manipulation, when your boundaries are being crossed. And people can say, well, when is that not the case? I don't know. I'm not a sex worker, but that's how I look and judge things. You asked if that was grooming. I don't think so. What was the intention? That's something that's kind of cultural with us, right? Every Black woman wants some hips and a big butt, and when you see it, you might smack it, you praise it. That's what we do as women. The person who's being praised and smacked, do you feel violated? If you do, you should be able to say so, and the people who do it stop. Plain and simple. Otherwise, it just gets to be a conversation where we're going so far off base and placing blame on things that don't matter, because there's people who walk out of the house covered up head to toe and they still get molested or they still get raped. You see what I'm saying? Am I making sense, Purple?
Yeah, it is. It is. And this
question.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I definitely have experienced inappropriate touch and lots of things through the years, but I never really, what I realized today is I don't interact with the public part of it, right? Like, how did I get there and what did that create and cause? So thank you. And just,
yeah, we've had people on Woo who talk about this all the time, and they have certain Woo members clutching their pearls and thinking, oh, this is so wrong. But if you're just being sexually expressive, I don't delve into any of that, because there's evidence, there's a formula. And again, if it's followed, it's just pretty cut and dry. We have onus over ourselves, right? We have the right to set boundaries, and we have to maintain those boundaries.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate, very fortunate as a young person, because I learned it early, right? After just realizing I don't want to keep having this experience in the street or at the party. So by high school, I found my formula. It was actually a very feminine energy approach, which I got so far away from. Instead of responding to masculine energy from the masculine, I responded from like a really gentle place. I had and would have conversations and inform brothers, and they would be appreciative,
Yeah. And how old are you, Purple?
I'm 46.
46, I'm 47. They say sometimes we can't even be in these conversations because we grew up in rape culture, and what's normal to us.
Right.
Like I've learned so much from the younger generation as far as what things I say, things I do, and listening to them and realizing how inappropriate that is. And it's like we embody it, because every movie, Revenge of the Nerds,
oh yeah,
every song, like it, we grew up in rape culture.
Oh yeah, they don't play with us. And the things they say, because I've been working with them, the things they say, it's a good check. It's a good chin check. And I don't knock them, and I'm learning from them. But man, they actually judge the crap out of us because of these things, right? They think we allowed it versus don't understand the trajectory of generation to generation and how I don't know. I still think hip hop was a collective celebration and cry, right? And so we started moving in our bodies differently because we needed to. And in different cultures, that is not gyrating. So,
but at the same time too, because of that, there was a lot of we got taken advantage of, and
right. That's the part
things went left, and
we didn't know.
We have things too that were just normalized, like KRS-One, one of the most celebrated.
Right, the girls look so good, but their minds are not ready.
Listen. KRS-One has a song called 13 and Good, where he talks about having sex with a 13-year-old that he didn't know was 13, But after she found out she was 13, he didn't keep his thoughts to himself. He didn't run in shame or hide, like, oh my God. He was like, oh, wow, you only 13? That was good. She was 13 and good. Go look that up. This is a song.
I believe this is what I'm saying, right? Because I was skipped 2 years. I was that girl, but not that girl because I delayed some of it. But going to college at 16, nickname jailbait, right? So then my quick response was, well, then you thinking about sex right away because you're going to go to jail if you fucking. Right? So it's like I
there's a
came up
song
with
called
these,
Jailbait.
right? But I mean, again, I still think I just look at our generation as a very interesting place where we did say no, not no more, but not with the words. But at the same time, we're doing things like I went to Freaknik, that's all my jam. I'll pause. I'm taking a lot of space. Again, I think this conversation is necessary. And I guess I say all that to say, like, there's a distinction. I think sometimes inappropriate touch and molestation leads to behaviors in adult. And we still have lots of place to learn about kink and sexual exploration as you're developing as a child. So you can express that. I'm definitely somebody that listened to Woman That Ran with Wolves and learned a little bit more, Mama Gina's class and all of that, and those white woman versions of it. But, there's a reason Zane and all these books were popular. I think some of it is an American thing. Yeah. I think
it's an American even thing. For me, it's very hard for me to answer some of these questions and things, which is why I'm so grateful that prevention came into my life, because when you just follow those rules, none of the other stuff matters.
None of the other stuff, yeah.
Because whatever you experience, whatever happens to you, you wanted it to happen. It may be a one-time thing. You may be a little kinky. We don't know.
It could be a lot. It could be nudity. You don't have the barriers to nudity. When I see Europeans at resorts, their children, they change them right there. People like that kid naked. I'm like, because they don't deal with it the way we deal with it. So I think some of it has a lot to do with slavery roots and the relationship with men and women and protecting and watching violation happen and feeling powerless in it. And how did that continue in the culture? Again, I'm more or less talking about community norms.
All right, Purple, I got to wrap you up because
my bad. Thank y'all.
This happens to me every time. I really want to show y'all this website. I have a risk assessment tool that I want to do. I see one more hand. Sister Val, I need you to share with Velocity. I'm so sorry. But I don't want to dismiss you. But while Sister Val is sharing, I want everybody right now to go into Google and put child sexual abuse, sexually abused, child sexual abuse, molested, these type of words into your Google search and your city, right? And then you know how it'll say pictures, video, go to news and put in the chat what you see. If you see any recent reports within, reports a year, 2 years, sometimes depending on where they are in the case. Let me know how many reports you see about your city. Put what your city is and how many reports you see. And if you have any specific, do that in the chat for me right now, so we can really see what it is that I'm talking about, because a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people, their kids go to a school and they don't even know that last month a child was sexually abused in the bathroom by one of the police officers that work at the school. Like that's how crazy this thing is. Or at the church. This we're still keeping secrets, we're still covering up, but a lot of it is being exposed. We can only know what's reported. So I want you to Google your city using those keywords and let me know what comes up for your city in the chat. Okay, Sister Val, and that'll be our last hand before we move on, y'all.
Oh, I just wanted to thank you all. I had another mindset before listening to the last session with you and Purple. Hey, Purple. We were in cohort 20 together at Be the Tree. But I was following along. I was born late. And so, yeah, I grew up. When I say late, I mean, most of the people in my family had already been 20, 25, 30 by the time I was born. My parents were in their 50s. So I was the last seed. But my dad was born in 1916. So it kind of gives you an idea of like, I was brought up by the old school generations where everything was not discussed in front of children. So as a result, um, yeah, I did the Zane readings and all of that American culture, quote unquote, or just what we thought was the norm. And so I don't believe I was ever touched by my parents or anything like that. But um, when I became a teenager, you go out to these concerts and stuff. And so I remember going to the local concert, and then some of these people, because the hip hop was just coming up in my generation, some of these people were people you would see every day and walk around and say hey, and they would be part of the neighborhood. So I remember being invited to some event, which I thought it was an event, but it turned out to be like a bunch of men. And this hip hop person, I'm not going to say the name because I know this is going to be published on Facebook and stuff. So I'm not trying to get any heat from all of this, but this is my personal experience, and I'm getting choked up talking about it because it was my first exposure to what that is, what you're talking about. But I wasn't a child anymore, but I still didn't say anything because I thought it was accepted. So there was a bunch of men, and they had sex with me because of this person that I knew that was part of this rap group. And if I had to do it all again, they would say today that it was willful, just like we see on the TV right now with Sean Puffy Combs or Diddy or whatever he calls himself. And it wasn't willful. It was just, I thought this is what a girl did because this was a guy and this is what they do, right? And so if I had to do it all again, I would scream no, I would shout no, I would even come out fighting, right? But because I didn't know and these things weren't discussed, I just kind of went along. And one guy was very abusive. I remember his name. It was ROCK. They called him Rock. Maybe he was the body person or the bouncer or the security guard. What do you call these people that watch out for these people? The lookout guy. I don't know. The people who watch out for the stars when they're performing. Maybe he was one of them. Well, he was very abusive to me, right? And so I remember it was like an all night thing. I didn't come back home until like maybe 2 or 3 days later. And my parents had put out a report that I was missing. And I was right in the neighborhood. Okay. So fast forward to me being an adult, I learned that I had a cousin who was touched as a child. And she was touched by someone in the family, and they still didn't talk about it. Even to this day, it comes up innuendos, but I will never know who it was that touched her. And it was someone in her family, her immediate family, maybe her sister. I don't know. But I have nieces and nephews who also were left with babysitters, and now they choose to live an alternative lifestyle because they were touched, right? So, my question is, which is what I had before, is what does it look like when you said, because sometimes people don't like what you say? Well, sex work is sex work. I get it. But when you are exposed to that, right? How can you, how can someone who has been exposed to that, like find space or hold space to justify sex work because of the violations that they've experienced? To be judgmental
Yeah, so
against
so
sex
a lot of
workers.
people think that one can't be without the other. From what I've heard, it can. I think at least from what we've been fed, you would think that most of it comes from, that place. But, it's just like, I guess because of those things, um, organized sex work, for lack of a better word, there's like rules and things. Now, even in the strip clubs, like stand up strip clubs. And I hate to throw my hands up like that because again, we're so judgmental of things. But this is where I say like there's certain things I can't answer and the conversation just goes out of my realm. I just have to stick to to what I know and what I've learned. It's kind of like in medicine, right? You bring these natural remedies to your doctor, and they like, look, I don't know nothing about that hoodoo because they went to school and they were taught
Right, under
this, and
different
they have to stick within that scope of practice. And that's what I do because I know I'm not going to be able to answer every question. I'm not going to be able to save the world,
Right,
but
but no, I'll say this because like now my walk is basically I'm quote unquote the church woman or the church lady or whatever they call us. But it's because of those experiences that I've had that I've decided that the only safe space for me is to surrender my life, right, to Christ, to that's my choice, right? But people will judge me, or if I come into the room, if I show up, I don't even have to say anything. But because of they know who I represent, if I come into the space, immediately I'm judged. And they don't even know my backstory. They don't even know my story. So what difference is it to judge someone like me and then people say, well, you can't judge someone who is a sex worker? The choices of an individual should be left to them. And then it's between them and who they choose to call their God, right? So that's all I'm saying. It's like it's a double-edged sword, or it's a double standard, because I choose to surrender my life to Christ as a result of my healing space. But I have a cousin that I mentioned, and I am so proud of her. We are so proud of her because that same cousin, she always wanted to be this beautiful ballerina. And so she did go to school and she became a ballerina. And now she teaches young women how to be like a beautiful swan, like the ugly duckling and the swan. It doesn't matter. Even if you were a sex worker and you were forced or coerced, or even if you had sexual trauma as a child, no matter what it is, if she finds out that you exist, she takes you in, and with the grant money, she turns you into this beautiful swan. And she calls her company the Swan Within, so that these women, these young girls, can become who they always wanted to be and see past the hurt, see past the trauma.
yeah, Sister Val, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off because we have 6 minutes.
Okay.
The one thing that I do want to say to is, just as there's her, there's strippers who are standing up for this also, and they seem to be mentally healthy people who advocate for their work, but also for setting boundaries and turning something ugly into something beautiful. So again, it's a really, really, really deep conversation. One of the things that I really want you guys to notice too, with the last few shares, right? These are all women who thankfully, I mean, Sister Val shared some traumatic things that happened to her, right? But she's here able to speak today, right? But because these things weren't taught to them when they were younger, and when I say these things, we're about to go over some of them now, Sister Val, is why I have to cut you off, because this is what happens every session. And I really want to get through this website, and I want y'all to try the website, test the website out. So I'm asking the community for maybe another 15 minutes. Um, if you could stay and watch me go through this demonstration, um, because I feel like just the last 3 shares, they would be different if these women and even myself, because I can relate to a lot of the things. Man, when I tell y'all, my name could be thrown up in Diddy's case right now. I'm so grateful for the many bullets I dodged. You know, again, the answer is education, prevention. All right. So I want to do a risk assessment really quick. All right. Everybody who's on this call, especially Keith and any other fathers that I have here, I don't even know who's in the space. But I think this is very, very important for the men too, because society makes you guys the protectors, right? I want to do a risk assessment with y'all. All right, I'm going to go through certain points, and if they apply to you and your household or the kids that you know, I want you to give yourself a score of 1. So we're going to just tally it up. All right, so we're adding up. Anything that I say, if it applies to you, you're going to add 1, add 1, add 1, add 1. I'm going over 20 points. So from 1 to 20, I want to know where the community stands if y'all have the guts to say so. All right. Does everybody understand that? Put it in the chat that you guys understand, or if you need more clarification on that. Thank you so much, Sister Val, for your share, for your vulnerability. I really, really appreciate you. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay. So I want you to add one if you have never had a conversation with your child about the possibility of them being sexually violated. If you have children, or if you don't have children, you have children in your life, and you personally, or you're not aware, especially if you're a grandparent or an uncle or an aunt who should maybe know these things, if you're not aware that the children in your life have ever had a conversation about the possibility of them being sexually violated, I want you to give yourself a score of 1. Number 2, if you have never had a conversation with your child about the possibility of them being violated, that included, because some of us have said, don't let anybody touch you there. Some of us have said, good people do bad things even. They may have even gone that far. But if your conversation did not include the possibility of the sexual violation being at the hands of someone that child knows, trusts, loves, and even admires, I want you to add another another point. Okay, so if you've had the conversation, but you did not include that it could be by the hands of someone the child knows, loves, and trusts, add another point.
Sorry, Martine. I just want to go back since we're at the top of these 2 questions. You're saying never had the conversation? Give yourself a 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you've had the conversation, but you never mentioned that it could be somebody that they know, love, and trust, add another point.
Okay. Queen A says he's confused now. Okay. I'm
like,
since we
jump
need
on and tell me what you're confused about.
Yeah, go through 1 and 2.
I'm just confused because first you said that if we have experienced it, add a 1. Then you turned around and said, even if we ain't experienced it, or like it's something we ain't never talked.
No, that's not what I said. Listen.
Oh, okay.
I said, if you've never had the conversation with your child about being sexually violated, 1 point. Then I said, if you've never had the conversation, if you've had maybe this is where I confuse y'all. Mm-hmm. If you did have that, let's say it this way, if you did have that conversation, but you didn't let them know that it could be at the hands of someone they know and trust, give yourself another point. Is that clearer?
Yes.
Okay. Not really for me. I'm still a bit confused. If I can explain the confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I think my confusion with the question is, are you asking us to state that first of all, I have talked to my children about, generally speaking, sexual abuse, that it can happen, but I did not include it can also happen with people close to me.
Okay, so then that would be 1 point.
That's an additional point.
If you've never talked to them, then it would be 2
points. Another 2 points, right? I have a pause, please. I'm sorry, because this is very triggering. The second question made me triggered a memory. I told you I was born late, so I have grandnieces, nieces that are older than me, and I remember being 16, 17, maybe even 19 or 20, I don't remember. But my grandniece's mother told me, pick her up and take her to my sister's house. Her sister couldn't come, so her sister's husband came to pick up my niece and met me, my grandniece. And when he came, he was so excited, but I don't know him. I don't know him like that. So all I'm doing is what I'm asked. So I called my niece's mother, my grandniece's mother, and I said, your brother-in-law is here instead of your sister. And she said, okay, yes, my sister told me she sent him. Do you know that my grandniece was molested that night by her uncle? Do you know how that made me feel? That I gave him her? You see? So the question that it can happen from someone you know, if it wasn't expressed to me, then how would I know? How would I have known that I was doing that to my grandniece? You see? So this is why I choose the choices that I choose now, because it wasn't just me. But you can put a child in harm's way not even realizing it. Not even realizing it.
Yeah, and this is why everybody has to be on the same page. Thank you, Sister Val. Think about these stories that you guys are hearing and whatever you're getting from the news, because this is real. You're sitting in the presence of people who have gone
No
through
one
this.
knew that my grandniece's mother did not know that her own niece was being molested by her father until this situation happened.
Yeah.
He was going into the room of his own daughter. And this man worked as an x-ray technician. He was the person that you would go if you needed to get an x-ray of your body part at the hospital. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but
that's
you
all I
know
can.
that, but at the end of the day, that's not on you. The only thing I could say, we learn from things, right? And what I always say, and even if you got to have the strength to look like the crazy person, always follow your gut, right? But especially when it makes us look crazy, sometimes it takes an experience for that to really, really, really hit home. I have to follow my gut. Um, but this is what it is, and unfortunately, especially when it's at the hand of a parent, that's the hardest to prevent and combat. Um, it's going to happen, y'all. It's going to happen. So again, it's all about mitigating the risks, and this is why I'm going to do this risk assessment tool with y'all, so that you see how you personally, individually, uniquely are individually impacted, and what your risk is, your risk in the children in your lives. Okay, so we went over the 2 points. Forgive me, I can't even. I'm gonna turn this phone off. I guess if you guys can hear my notifications, forgive me. All right, so again, if you've never had the conversation, 1 point. If you had the conversation but never mentioned that it could be someone the child knows or trusts, could be a parent, 2 points. If the child lives in a single parent household, that's another point. Go through these quickly, y'all, okay? Everybody's tallying up their points. If the child lives in a single parent household, if the single parent has a significant other living in or frequenting the home, that's another point. If there are older children, including siblings, living in the home, that's another point. Family members or friends outside of the immediate family living in the home, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, anybody outside the immediate family living in the home, that's another point. The home's structure includes other family units. You live in an apartment building. Do you live in a multi-family house? Are you renting a room from somebody's main house? Okay, give yourself the children in your life another point. The child or children go to visit.
Advice. I need a little more context.
Sorry,
Could you please clarify what you mean by the children or the children in your life? Another point. Are you trying to make a point about children in general?
I can't even turn the phone off. Y'all don't even understand. All right. I don't even know where I was at.
Technology.
I
The
can't even turn
children going
I've been
to
trying to turn
visit.
it off.
Children going
Yes,
to
I
visit other
say,
homes.
say again. I'm sorry.
Children going to visit other homes.
Okay, so if the child goes to visit the non-custodial parent, give yourself a point. If the non-custodial parent has a significant other living in or frequenting the home, another point. If the non-custodial parent has older children, friends, or family members outside of the immediate family, including maybe a half sibling, living in the home or frequenting the home, give yourself another point. The non-custodial's home structure includes other family units. So now, again, this is where you send your child maybe every other weekend. Is it an apartment building, a multi-family house? Does the other parent rent a room? Give yourself another point. If the child receives care outside of the home, another point. So daycare, after school program, anything outside of the home other than a school or something like that. Child goes to school outside of the home. So if your child is not homeschooled, they leave and get on the bus and go to school, or you drive them to school, they walk to school, 1 point. The child partakes in extracurricular activities at school, 1 point. The child partakes in extracurricular activities outside of school, maybe outside gymnastics, another point. Child attends Sunday school or youth ministry regularly, another point. Child goes to camp in the summer, another point. School has no predatory preventative measures in place that you are aware of. Okay, so maybe you don't know. If you don't know, give yourself a point. The only way you don't give yourself a point for this is if you know that my school has preventative measures against child sexual abuse. If that is the case, you don't give yourself a point. But if you don't know that, you're not aware of that, you don't think they do, give yourself a point. The outside youth serving agencies that you leave your kids with, again, daycares, after school programs, gymnastics, football, if they don't have child sexual abuse preventive measures in place that you know of, you don't know this to be true, whether or not it's the possibility of it being true. If you don't know, give yourself a point. And last, you attend a church that, as far as you know, has no preventative measures against child sexual abuse in place. Okay? If you don't know that to be the case, give yourself a point. Okay? So the maximum points you could have got was 20. Let me know what you guys scored. And I'm sorry I went through that a little bit faster than I wanted to. There was some interruptions, but I think you guys get the idea of what I'm doing. And just let me know how many points you scored.
And while we're doing that, Martine, I see that there are some resources on your website. Is this available on your website? Veronica asks if there is a written document or something that we could look at.
You know what? It's not. And it's not because it's just something that I quickly put together just using my common sense. There's no evidence or any, I mean, it is loosely evidence based, but I'll work on that. Again, if you think about it, just looking at everything logically, these are risk factors for child sexual abuse. Single parent household, high risk factor. The stress of a mother. You have some mothers who opt to stay home with their kids and they receive assistance and nobody touches their kids, but that's usually not the case. A single mother is usually working. She's usually leaving her kids alone or with other people. She's taking advantage of, extracurricular activities that she can drop them off at. And then also, if the non-custodial parent is in their life, you have that household to worry about as well. Very high risk for child sexual abuse. If you're sending your child somewhere where they're not actively practicing preventative, not reactive, preventative measures, those are like places like that invite predators. They look for places like that. Where can I go find me some children? R. Kelly did it at his very own school because he knew he could go in there, he could manipulate his old chorus teacher, and he took advantage of children in his old chorus teacher's class. He sat at the mall and McDonald's because, again, this is not something that is openly talked about. So predators will find places where children are, and they will go and they will.
I didn't score low. I mean, I didn't score high, but I'm grateful that you even brought in the church because of my experiences. And I'm 56 right now. My experiences have taught me so much, and not some of them were not even mine. They were experiences shared by being a part of my own family. And because I teach Bible school now, one of the rules that I've made sure to follow is that when the classes are over, because we teach infants all the way up to high school. We don't let them just go back upstairs to the main auditorium to their parents. We escort them. We walk them because you don't know who these people are coming into the building. And if they see a child walking alone in the building, what they would do. And
Yeah, but
then
there's a lot of things too, which is why I would implore you, invite me. You have inappropriate relationships with deacons and 16-year-olds. It's so common. It's you would not believe. There was one year where 50 pastors were charged with child sexual abuse in America. 50 pastors. That's like almost a pastor for every state. So, it's a thing. It's a thing. So it's not, again, like we can think about stuff that we can do and definitely do it, even if it is putting a brick to somebody's head. But let's also learn all the facts and the evidence so we can really make impactful choices. So I'm
send me
gonna
your
show.
information and I'll definitely ask them to invite you. But just recently I have a niece whose daughter was staying with her grandma, her 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 father's mother. And one of her father's brothers came into her bedroom when she was sleeping. Thankfully, she's aware and nothing happened, and she got out of there that night. And now she lives with her father.
It happens, and I'm so glad that somebody did something. I don't know if it was the right thing, because again, one thing about our community, we like to sweep stuff under the rug, handle it, separate the people. Same thing with the Catholic Church. They'll send that priest somewhere else. But these people need to be prosecuted. They need to be
Oh, don't
jailed,
get me
and they
started.
need to get help if you
Those
know.
Catholic priests, I live right across the street from where they send them. Those ones that did those things, they're supposed to be sent somewhere, and they sent. You should see how these people are living. They have no remorse.
Yeah, but it's the institutions that are protecting them also, and it's the fact that I've approached many a Catholic church. I've actually had a nun come to one of my things and try to partner with me. They refuse to implement a program like this. So let's go over this website really quick. My May 29th session was supposed to be, I'm going to do it half and half, I guess, because I really have to keep moving on with realizing a dream. I don't even know if y'all remember that. We are like how many months into Trump's presidency? I think we might be getting a little bit comfortable, but I definitely want to carry on with that business. But I also want to make sure that we're complete with this, and it looks like that's not going to happen today. But I want to breeze through this website because it really, really, really will help me. And Chantel's going to drop all the links if you guys would test this website out for me. I'm so sad that I don't see Chris Penna here because I owe him. Oh my God, I got to call this man. But he's been really, really good at following up and trying to help me. And one of the things that he told me is that when he clicks on a link, sometimes it asks, it's, he has to ask for permission to view. So that's something that I needed to tweak. So this is like my prototype website. It's through Canva, but it's very informative. I used to send you guys emails with all of these attachments, and it was really hard to go through. And I was trying to think of how to streamline and make everything easier. The pandemic has shown me that the internet is the way. So I created this website. It's all me. I'm not a website designer, so I need truthful feedback. You can be like, the colors are ugly. Oh my God, it's such a turn off. I am not sensitive. I'm not no artist. I just did the best that I can. All right. So you can give me feedback on everything. If you see a typo, when I uploaded the PDFs, some of the words were overlapping. Canva did really, really weird stuff. Um, it's a lot for me to go through by myself. So I really would appreciate if anybody sees anything, just let me know. But this is the landing page. And if you click these links, it'll take you to each section. So this is about us, where you see my mission, vision, commitment. Over here is my organization's bio. If you want to share this with your church, You can print this out or download it and email it to them. If you click these links, they'll open these PDFs. Okay. This is a short letter explaining why I do what I do. And this is a disclaimer and statement of intent for the website. This is a donate button. You can donate to Touch the Rebellion. You can click this and go back to the main menu. And the second part of it is parent resources. Very important. I would really appreciate just a lot of information, y'all. Not going to get through this in a day. And I need for you to really, really take the time. And it's kind of over information. So you can read these. And if you're interested, these are tip sheets from stopitnow.org. That's also the website that I told you does so much research. They even research the behaviors of predators and try to rehabilitate them. There's a lot of information here. Definition of child sexual abuse, how to talk to teens, how to recognize age-appropriate sexual behavior versus non-age appropriate, or what's normal sexual exploration versus maybe predatory. Behaviors to watch out for in adults, and even and this is what I love about this website, because I feel like this is the only way we have to address the predators themselves. But if you have predatory behaviors, how to recognize them within yourself. These are the last two here. Worried about your own thoughts and behaviors. 15 questions about your own thoughts and behaviors. And just like I said, Purple and I, we're children born in rape culture. You might be surprised by some of your thoughts and behaviors. I implore everybody to explore this, just to see, there's little things that we do and say that can be deemed inappropriate. And for me, whether or not to gauge whether something is appropriate or not, it depends on the person's personal choice, right? The law, things like that. That's how you can determine whether or not something is appropriate or not. On the right side is my parent pack. So this is all my information except for these two videos here. I thought it was very important. Actually, I need to upload this video because I had a clip and it was kind of messed up because the video is rather long. But this is very important because we're doing all this preventative stuff, right? Oh, I'm going to teach my child how to protect themselves. But what if your child reveals to you that they were sexually abused? I thought it was very important for me to put resources there for that. Of course, call me, email me, if that's the case, but you can watch these videos beforehand. And one of the things that I'll definitely say right now is to curb your reaction, because how you react will determine what the child will tell you. They need to feel heard, they need to feel safe, they need to feel like they're not saying something that's going to make you now run out and kill somebody. Even if you will, you don't have to let them know that, but you want them to be able to tell you everything. So very important. Please watch these first before talking to your children. Then I have this tip sheet, 10 tips on beginning the conversation. And there's an addendum for single parents. That may also apply to two-parent households also. It's just a good reference. It's very long, okay? And what I'm doing is actually helping you to prepare for the conversation. Some people have no clue how to address the children about this topic. What do I say? How do I make it age appropriate? This is going to help you, okay? We have steps here. How to prepare, how to make it age appropriate. There's a kid zone where there's some sheets, worksheets that you can use. I would say the most important thing to do is to go through this information and prepare yourself. Make sure you're well prepared for having a conversation. And you're going to be so surprised at what these kids tell you and what they already know. All right. Prepare yourself for that. Ask questions to find out what they already know, but you have to, create a safe and inviting environment. You have to let them know this is an exception. I know that we don't usually talk about this, and this is appropriate and this is not appropriate, but you can speak freely right now. This is an exception. That's one of the glossary words that we teach the kids also, what the word exception means. Clearly discuss the difference between being violated by someone who's familiar and a stranger. Address family and friends. Okay. Find out your state laws. Stop when your child asks you to stop, and follow up. It's so important to follow up. Again, like I said, this is a lifelong conversation. You can start at 3, but when the child turns 6, it's not going to be the same conversation. When they turn 12 and 16 and 19, the conversation is going to evolve. So this is something that you want to normalize and implement into their everyday lives. So again, it's a lot of information. It's overwhelming. Take your time with it, but please look through the website and let me know what you guys think. So if you move down, here's the kids zone. We have body safety rules poster that you can start off with. My body is my body and it belongs to me, and these things, a lot of these things are catered toward younger children. Just elevate the conversation for the older children. It's still the same thing. You can tell a 17-year-old, your body is your body and it belongs to you. And you set boundaries and you tell people how to treat you. And in my workshops, we're not heavy on physical sexual touch. We talk about respect. We talk about maybe you don't like people to touch your hair. You're allowed to tell them not to touch your hair. Okay, it's about empowering a child to take onus of their person and to teach people how to treat them. So it's a very beefy conversation that's graduated. Over here, we have glossary, and there's a lot of words that we use that need to be cleared up. Even if the children may know what the words mean, go over the words with them, and I wish you could see it. Okay. Appropriate touch, inappropriate touch, mantra, sacred, confident, child sexual abuse, grooming, trusted adult, exceptions. I'll probably add to this too. And if there's anything that you guys think should be on here as well, after reading everything and seeing what's being taught, definitely let me know. Okay. You can email me those things, please, because I'm going to keep a tally of it. Because I really want to perfect this. And I want, this is not, I chose Touch to be a nonprofit, and I don't know if I'm going to stay that way because it doesn't seem to be working, but my vision was this to be a community effort. I wanted it to be a torch that I passed on by now. This was incepted in 2011, and I'm still trying to get people to accept the information. So please help me with this. This is 6 tips. Very important document to go over with the kids. 6 tips on how the children themselves can help prevent an incident of child sexual abuse. And there's things on here like how to recognize grooming, listen to your gut. You have the right not to hug if you don't want to hug. Don't be alone in a room with an adult with a closed door. That's a big thing now in schools. You're allowed to tell the adult to leave the door cracked open. And then the golden words, which is like the most important thing to me, because a lot of times you have meek children who rather they sacrifice their comfort for other people's comfort or not to upset people. They don't know that they're allowed to be firm and let people know that they don't like what's happening. So there's the golden words, which is simply, please stop, state the action. Please stop touching my hair. Please stop rubbing my shoulder. Please stop walking closely by me, whatever it is. You teach a child to ask the person to stop and let them know you're making me feel uncomfortable. This is so important because a person might think that they're able to manipulate a child, but when a child is able to verbalize that, it's going to scare a predator because they're going to know, oh, this child is on me. They're letting you know that they're uncomfortable because if an older adult is touching a child, 9 times out of 10, it's making them feel uncomfortable. And 9 times out of 10, these violations go through because the child does not say anything. But if you simply teach a child to speak up and protect their boundaries, it could make, not 100%, could make a world of difference. Okay, and then this document is who is your top 5. I advocate having outside outsiders. Okay, we're a community. We need support. Who can a child call when you're not around? Who can a child call when they feel like they can't come and talk to you? So I always have 5 people, family member, teachers, community member, whoever the child admires and then you can trust. And of course, if everybody is on the same page, right, and everybody's practicing prevention, this can work, right? And I have them memorize at least the phone number of these people because a lot of your children don't even have your phone number memorized, right? So in an emergency or situation, they may need to recall a phone number. So I always have the kids memorize their parents' numbers and at least 2, 3 other people. But we have 5 people they can go to on that form, and they can keep that somewhere in their room where they feel safe and that they know that they have an avenue to go to if for whatever reason they can't reach you or don't want to reach you. I think that's very, very, community is so important in this. Then lastly, the last page of the website, well, almost the last page, second to last page, is where you can get help if there is a child discloses child sexual abuse prevention to you, an incident of child sexual abuse, or if you just know about a child information, which Chantel will also be dropping in. So that's the website. And on May 29th, I'll do a more in-depth demonstration of it. And that's all I have for you. There's the workshop that I'm trying to put together. I'm trying to see how many kids and when we can have it. Chantel's going to drop that link in also. Please, you're not really registering for the workshop, but you're just kind of communicating to me who the children in your life are, how old they are, and what your availability is so that I can choose a date and get registration going. Chantal, I'm gonna give it up to you now at 8:58.
Oh, thanks. You still got a few people on the line. That's what matters. Let me pull this up. I just wanted to get clear on the site. I know Doreen said she was having some issues. So if you click on the link that I just shared, it should take you to this home screen that Martine was just sharing. If it's not working, I'm not sure why it's not working.
And yeah, and if it's not, just shoot me over an email.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can check. And then the other link that I dropped was the parent resource. So if it takes you here, you can always go to the bottom of the screen. But when actually you can go right here to click on main menu and it takes you
every page
up.
has it.
So it'll take you back to the top eventually. So I just wanted to show that. But real quick, Martine, I know that you were a little discouraged along the way in this process, and we talked about this when we cleared at the top that you were given an assignment for a reason and not to give up because you are a vessel for this message and it's not going to be easy, especially with such a topic. And I hope that you got some support. Like I said, you got the support or the covering that you needed today to remind you of that. And it sounds, yeah, huh?
You cut out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Sorry. That you're a vessel for this message, which is not an easy message to deliver. And so being patient with yourself and showing yourself grace and the community grace, because it takes time to pull this information out of people and to show the value in it. And I think that today was helpful because you started with the parents. And the parents sometimes need to tell their own story to understand, Dad, maybe there should have been prevention for me and there wasn't. And so now I need the support. I need to give my child this information or my grandchild this information. And even people like myself who don't have kids, this is part 3, and I've never invited anybody to the conversation because I didn't know how I could help. And then today I did, right? And so it takes time for people to get a hold or the value of the conversation or to know their place and what they can do. The other piece was the assessment. Maybe they didn't think as parents or grandparents that they were not being protective, right? And so putting it in people's faces of like, Dad, I scored a 7. I could do better than that, right? And so sometimes people need to have it in their faces or they need to know what the problem is and where the gaps are before they know where they can jump in. So I just want again for you to know that you are doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing, and you were chosen for a reason. And thank you for these resources.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chantel. And let's just call it what it is and be totally transparent with you guys. What she's talking about is like now, it's 9 o'clock, we're 30 minutes over, right? And then I'll get only one person sign up for the workshop. I feel like here at Woo, sometimes we get so caught up in the conversation and sharing of things, but we're not acting. Again, there's a lot of people here who are up in age. They may not have children, but you know children, you know people who could use this information. And that's what really, really discourages me is when we can't get past the talking. And I feel like I'm not reaching out to enough children. That's what really, really, really bothers me. So I would deeply, deeply appreciate it if you guys would share this far and wide. And I listened to Chantel. I listened to the feedback that she gives me. So I'm gonna drop in the chat verbiage for maybe somebody who's like, I don't know how to invite somebody to this. And I thank you so much, Chantel, for listening and inviting Keith and for Keith actually coming. And anybody, I don't think that there's anybody else new in here. But I know I invited somebody I think I see in here. So thank you for coming. But here's some verbiage to help you out. And you can tweak it however you want to. I also have a letter that I wanted to share, but a template to share with your schools and youth serving agencies. We can talk about that next time. I think it's really, really important for you guys to hold their feet to the fire. I don't know. I only saw a few responses. Maybe I missed some. I don't know if y'all took this seriously when I said to Google, or maybe you Googled and it wasn't producing. But if you Google sexually abused, child sexual abuse, molested, in your city, something is gonna come up. A lot of things sometimes. Puffy's case is kind of taking over certain cities. You'll see a lot of that also. But it's happening, and I want to hold these youth serving agencies accountable. I want to hold churches accountable because a lot of this is happening, and it's happening where the kids are familiar, they are regulars. It happens at home, and it's happening by people that they know. Only 10% of strangers do this to children. Statistically, again, we can only go by what's reported. So thank you, Chantel, and I'm imploring you, community, to please help me spread this word. And if you have children, definitely let them attend the workshop. I see Jackie's hand up. What's up, Jackie? You're muted. You're muted.
Jackie, hold on. There she goes. Oh, let me ask her to mute. She's on a phone, and that's always.
Thank you. For some reason, I have a problem with that. I just want to say, Martine, if just one person gets this message and they need it, you've done a hell of a lot.
One
So
more.
don't get discouraged about the fact that you don't have numbers. The second thing is it's very difficult to approach people and ask them to come to a workshop and stuff like that because some people get defensive. So what are you trying to say? I'm not taking care of my child or whatever the case is. And this is when you're approaching people who have children like my grandchild. I would love for her mother to go to this workshop. I'm not even sure how to approach the subject with her because she's very defensive.
Well, check out the check.
And
I'm
that's
gonna put
it.
it in again. And again, this is community. I need y'all feedback. If y'all can tweak this to make it sound like your voice or whatever, or if you have a suggestion to
Go
make
on
it better,
YouTube.
let's
Start a YouTube page. Start a
let's take
YouTube
down
page.
these barriers.
Go on YouTube and start a YouTube page. Put it out there. Get it out there. Put it on YouTube and put it out there, and people will watch it. And then you can send your granddaughter the YouTube link.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm trying.
I'm not going to start the page. I would want Martine or somebody else who's a person who's not directly involved with her to do that because I'm
But I
telling you, coming
need
from me,
help with that. I want to do
right?
like
Okay.
animations and things like that.
Yeah,
But
that's probably
I
better.
can't do it all by myself. And when I started this nonprofit, there was hundreds of people lined up. And when they see what this work really is, there's nothing glamorous about this work. They dwindled off. I'm literally a one-woman show. So I need volunteers too. Anybody who's interested in learning, facilitating a workshop, can help me with the website, can help me with the animations. I know we have a lot of people in the space who are really good with AI. I am open to that because again, it's a community effort. This never was. I honestly, I thought I would have moved on to something else because y'all know that I got a lot of crazy ideas and things to talk about. It's not just about child sexual abuse prevention. So I really would love to leave this to the community.
Martine, before we move forward, did you select a date for the workshops? I don't think I think you were asking.
No, I didn't. So again, the form is so that I can know how many kids, because I have to do it age appropriately. So I don't know how many workshops I'm going to need. Can I do them all in one day? Do I need to do 2 weeks? So I'm trying to gauge all of that before I set dates.
Martine, it's perfect. Let's talk. I'll talk.
Beautiful.
I got you.
Beautiful.
I got you. Not necessarily on the numbers,
I need
but the approach.
songs too.
I got you on the approach. Let's talk about the approach. All right.
What to say, Martine? I could help with the workshop, and I'd love for you to speak to my Delta Academy girls or even their parents. A workshop for just the parents. So, you're gonna get what you need. And I found the quote. Hold on, I'm gonna put it in the chat. That God doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies the called, right? And so you're gonna get what you need. So just keep pushing through. And also, it's not just woo, right? Keep continuing to work with other orgs and youth organizations and putting your name out there. So, Gina has
Right. And Martine, if I ever have the opportunity to present this to other groups that I'm involved with, or if I can help in any way, you got me.
Thank you, my love. And somebody asked if the workshop, Denise, yes, the workshop is for now, it's free. I've been free man, and some people have told me that that's what the issue is, and that's why I haven't gotten anywhere. But for right now, this workshop that's coming up is totally free. I'll just work, or everything that I do is off of donations only.
Gina has her hand up.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Martine. Thank you. I don't want you to be discouraged because, like Jackie said, you are helping, even if you help one person. I do have to give you feedback. I shared the last time, because you got to me when you said nobody is doing anything. So I did share your links, your website. I went on the website. I clicked on all of those things. It was quite a journey. What the feedback I got from parents was like, I'm not putting my child. No, they want to come to a workshop with you first.
Oh, that's mandatory. So maybe
Yeah.
that's something that I need to say. That's mandatory.
Yeah, because I was saying, okay, she's doing workshops with children, blah, 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 trying to open them up to the idea. And they were open to the idea. They liked the information. I don't know if you were able to check the analytics and see if you got more clicks after our last session, because supposedly they told me they went on the website. They loved them. They loved some of the information. I don't know how much time they spent doing it, because with this day and age of 30 seconds, people don't have an attention span and things like that. So I'm not sure
Check back
how
in
much.
with them, because this is what we do.
Yeah.
Nina told me something. I'm gonna just blow
Right.
smoke on her hands, right?
Right.
I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you something. Chris kept telling me that he can't open the forms, and I've been going crazy trying to figure out what is wrong. I just discovered yesterday that each and every form that I uploaded to Canva, I have to individually give public permission. So nobody before yesterday could see anything on the website when they click, except for what you see, right? But as far as the clickable forms, nobody had permission. So go back to them, please. And let them know. I'm so glad you brought this up, because it's not something that, I say it casual. I guess I don't say it enough. I do not talk to anybody's child unless their parent has sat through an information session and they signed for their child to be in the workshop. Because though what I deliver is age appropriate, I cannot stop the children from talking about what they see and what they've heard and whatever. We usually separate them, but some of the stuff, I mean, we as parents, we delusional. We think our kids are so innocent and they don't know that. You send them out that door, you're letting the world control them. And if you just go by commercials, I was on Facebook the other day and I was like, I'm really for this advocating for breastfeeding, but some of these breastfeeding things, they just look a little raunchy, right? And I clicked on what I saw and it was porn, just that.
Mm-hmm.
I Googled granny midwives. Google granny midwives and go to the images and see what you see. This is, if I can do it, why can't your 5-year-old or I know 1-year-olds who are able to navigate an iPhone. So we really, really, really have to wake up to the possibilities of what our children know, and we need to have that open communication. And that's what I teach parents. But definitely, I do not talk to anybody's child until I've written consent.
Okay, so I'm going to circle back because I was able to see the video links. You had a
Okay.
lot of videos and things, and I didn't have to get permission.
So
But I
the
know you have two
videos,
platforms. Yeah.
the videos and the links. You're right. The links, you're able to see, but like the stuff that was like that I shared today, you couldn't see that before
Okay.
because I had
Okay.
to actually go in and give permission. And I got like a few emails from people, maybe some were your people, where it was asking for permission, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I couldn't even give permission from the email. I really didn't understand what was going on until I realized that just because I published the website and I gave permission for the website, that doesn't have to do. I have to separately do every part of the website.
Okay.
Maybe,
Got it.
maybe you need a different platform for this work and it's not user friendly.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's good.
But this is what I could
Yeah.
create. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that afterwards somebody can look at this and say, okay, let's move this on and use my GoDaddy, just an official website. This is just for now. And again, for y'all to test out and help me. I really would appreciate your help.
The baby steps. It's getting there. All right. So I'm gonna pull your special offer up.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you for the people that are left.
Look at you getting people moving forward. So there's a part 4. You said this was the last one, but I don't think so.
Child, I'm telling you, I have a session next week. I was like, I have another session next week.
Maybe the workshop should be your next session to actually
everything for a reason.
Maybe have an actual workshop with us in this space might be helpful for people to see. And what is your special offer?
Okay, so my special offer is this website. So I used to give out parent packs and some little promotional backpack things with a bunch of papers, but now it's the website that you can click through. And yeah, I know it's a lot. If anybody can help me think of how to condense it, or, again, I'm really open to feedback. And you can tell whoever you invite to look at the website that as well. But that's a special offer. And then also the free workshop. So the second link is the interest form, we'll call it. Again, where I ask, when do your kids get out of school? Do you plan on going in on any vacations? What are your kids' names, their ages, so that we can get the workshop set up. Because remember, it's very important for it to be age appropriate.
All right. How can we stay in touch with you and follow up if we do have referrals or want you to come to a school or a program?
Please, please, please. You can always give out the website, but with that disclaimer, it's not really something I would want to give to a school yet. But sometimes we have personal relationships with people, and you can say, "Hey, check this out. It's still in the making." Otherwise, you can have them either call this phone number or email me. That's my preferred way, info@touchtherebellion.org. Touch the Rebellion is my Facebook page, which again, I need help with. My social media presence is trash. Val talked about, YouTube videos. It's really heavy on my heart. I want to do these things, but again, I'm one person working a full-time job and I need help. So getting where you can fit in. This is again a community effort. But this is how you can reach me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And so, wow, Martine, you shared and you continue to share generously this topic and such a passion that you have for it. Thank you for bringing your full self and transparency about, the impact of the work that you're doing and the, support that you need and what that looks like moving forward. So we've had such an amazing conversation today. Resources were shared, stories were shared, testimonies and tools. And so we want to make sure that we continue to have a platform where we can have these conversations candidly and provide a safe space for community healing. And by way of love offerings is how we do that every morning that we're here. So we can have our Zoom space, and we can have our text message reminders, our e-blasts that go out to everyone to remind you to be here in this space, but also to invite others so we can have this for ourselves as Woo Nation. So we encourage you to send your love offerings. If you want to do it specifically for today, you could do so by sending it to Spirit of a Woman through Zelle or QuickPay. Then we also have a Cash App option, and you could put in the notes hashtag 1375 Martine Malivers to let us know specifically you're sending for today's session. And so in this space, we always say money stands for my own natural energy yields, and money is energy, and this is reciprocity in this space. So we want to continue to have these conversations here. And you can also send it monthly. Ooh, yeah, I don't know, that side's missing. So sending the monthly donation. So I'll send these links in the chat, and you can click on the link where it'll come out of your account automatically every month, and you're continuing to give to Woo Nation. And so coming up on Sunday, our next day that we'll be in the space, May 25th, we have Dr. Lavonda Douglas, who is going to join us for Think and Grow Rich, the chapter review. So she's been here a few times going through this book and going through different chapters. So we are continuing to delve into the Think and Grow Rich book. So join us then, and that's a 90-minute session. So you could click and use the same link and join us then. So we also want to thank our new people. Thank you so much, Keith, for joining us. And I think we had two other people, they're not in here now with us, who joined. So thank you so much for clicking that link. That's all it takes. And sometimes that's half the battle of getting up early and joining the conversation. But thank you for supporting Martine in this conversation. Hope that you were all able to get something out of it. And we ask that you return and bring more people with you to continue to build out this community. And if there are any people in here with special gifts, talents, you have some time that you can volunteer and be of service to the community, even if you don't have the gifts and the talents yet, but you mean well and you want to support the community, we teach you, we will help you, we will mold you and train you to do things. So don't worry if you're like, I really want to know how to use Zoom, but I don't know what I'm doing. Don't worry, we got you. And I always say that the tools that we use and the skills that we use in this space are so transferable into other areas. When we were thrown into COVID and we had to learn Zoom, I was so masterful at work. They were like, how do you know how to do this? And it was all because of Woo and what I had to do in this space. So don't take for granted making a slide deck or creating the registration form or speaking to facilitators and booking. There's so many things that you could do in this space to support this community. So we need you and we want you in here. So if you're any volunteers, you can click the interest form and I'll drop that in the chat as well, to support and to, us just have something else that you do. Maybe you don't get to do this in your daily lives and you want to learn some new skills. And you can join us. Let me see. You can join us Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Those are 90-minute sessions. And then, or 90-minute-ish. What time is it, Martine? It's fine. We don't have to talk about it. We have our Monday. Some of us go over, but it's fine, especially with this conversation. Mondays and Wednesdays are 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. So especially the newbies, if you're not used to this, please, this is the schedule. Join us for our upcoming sessions. We'd love to have you. And you can also stream on Facebook if you can't get into the Zoom space for whatever reason. And if you want morning reminders, we're glad to do that too. So you text all caps Woo Nation to 74121 and you can get those morning reminders. And then you can check out our lineup for next week, probably starting this weekend, to see who is going to be joining us for the next lineup by going to bit.ly/wake up movement. So stay in touch with us. And you can also check out our Facebook. We have Facebook as a page, and we also have a group. So please be mindful of that. Join both of them for the replays. And then we have Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. We're building out our YouTube pages. We're going back in the crates and pulling out the old episodes. We've been here for 5 years. So we're building that up so you can go back and check those out. And you can email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. So I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to give Martine her love shower. Thank you so much, Martine, for all of this information and for sharing with us these resources.
Thank you.
Thank you for
unmuting me,
Wow, that
Chantel.
was
Love you,
again very
Martine.
powerful.
Been a long time since we did
Martine.
2 hours.
Stick with it. This is your mission. We
Yeah.
got you back. We're gonna do what we can.
And
But we
you
need
feel,
your voice. We don't need
Yes.
you to give
For
up
all the
because
people that
you are
yes.
the only one who can do
You
this.
that
feel
You
your
were
glow?
made for
You feel
this.
your light? You feel how good
Yes,
you
yes,
feel?
yes.
for
Thank you, thank you,
You the
thank
one.
you.
to
You
share the
it.
information.
Ain't too
Work,
many people
Martine.
that's gonna
Where are
glow in this
you,
topic. So
Jackie?
thank
That
you
is
for keeping it going.
3:30 in the
Never said it
afternoon.
would be easy.
Take
Martine.
your
Welcome
time.
to
Africa.
the
Take your
nation.
time.
Ah,
Be
Thank
what
you.
led.
part?
All right, the marathon
Cape Town right
continues.
now.
Oh, beautiful. Love you. Love you. Have extra fun for all of
Oh,
us.
Jackie's in Africa. Okay.
Let's move forward,
Yeah,
everybody.
Cape Town.
And happy birthday, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, it's your birthday too. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday. Happy
love.
birthday.
Happy
Yesterday.
birthday,
Thank you so much.
Queen.
Happy
Thank you
Awesome.
birthday.
very
Happy
much. Thank
birthday.
you.
Awesome.
Martine, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna call you soon.
Okay, baby.
Let's make it
Right.
right for
All
Jack.
right.
I
Love
love
y'all.
All
y'all.
right.
Love you,
Blessings.
Bye.
Have a
family.
I love
lovely
you,
week.
Martine.
Never said it would be easy.
Love you, Martine. Grand
Love you,
Rising,
love
great
you,
day,
love
great
you,
day.
love you.
All right. Have a good one.